The Golden Globes are right around the corner, and we have some breaking news in Hollywood that we want to get to right here on Popcorn and Root Beer. I am so excited. Trash is excited. Jake's excited. So I'll see you on the other side of this drop.
Grab your popcorn, dim the lights. It's movie time, we're taking flight. From the silver screen to your earbuds here, we're diving deep, so lend your ear. Action, drama, comedy, gold. Stories fresh and classics old. We'll break it down, scene by scene, from indie gems to Hollywood dreams. Roll the credits, let's begin. Talking movies, where do we fit in? Heroes, villains, twists and turns. The love for cinema always burns. Roll the credits, it's time to see what makes the movies magic for you and me.
All right. I forgot to say quiet on set, but quiet on set because it's time for Popcorn and Root Beer. We are rolling. We are, well, not live with you. We're doing a recording. Unfortunately, I have some prior commitments that I must attend to. So we didn't want to cancel on you all as we've just started going weekly. So we decided to pre-record it. But my name is Steve. I am your host for Popcorn and Root Beer. And the people joining me tonight need no introduction, but every week they cut the check and tell me that I am supposed to do it. So I happily oblige. I am joined by the best in the game, and I am joined. Names are not important. What is important is that their favorite movies range from musicals to pure horror. And speaking of someone who is musically inclined, Trash, I've heard you can do a whistle note.
No. I can barely whistle, to be honest.
I was given false information. Bad intel.
It is false information. Yeah. I can play the piano though. Like I got a little I dabble.
You can tickle the ivories?
I can tinkle the ivories.
Oh, that's
Is it tickle the ivories? I always thought it was
tickle.
tinkle the ivories.
Tinkle the ivories might be something that sounds like something more out of a different award show that we jokingly talked about giving bets on. No, we are doing the Golden Globes tonight, Trash. So get your mind out of the gutter. Jake, you're a good PG chap.
Totally.
Never in the gutter.
Not at all.
Jake Parry, happy to have you with us.
Happy to have myself here as well. I should note, since we're talking about musically inclined, I can play like 6 instruments. I don't know if that matters.
Go on. Which 6?
Piano, guitar, drums, bass, banjo, and fiddle a little bit, and ukulele.
You fiddle on the fiddle?
I fiddle around with the fiddle. It's poor, but I can play like 6 notes. So I count.
The devil hates to see Jake coming.
It's like you give me a banjo and a fiddle, and I can like pretend that I'm redneck enough to know how to do it. And then you give me a ukulele, and then all of a sudden, if somebody can sing, we're gonna have a good time.
Somewhere Over the Rainbow will inevitably be played as is tradition with the ukulele.
The only song I know how to fully play on the ukulele.
Yes. If you are new here and you have not been a part of our program before, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing to the whole channel, but especially us. Comment below if you subscribed because of us, and then send a message to IBT in general that it was because of this show that you're here. Because, well, we just have egos and we like them to be stroked. If you're not new here and you are subscribed to the channel, please don't unsubscribe. I promise we're only here once a week, so you don't have to put up with us all that often. But it's fun to come in and tell us how great we are, how terrible we are, and however you feel like doing that is totally your business. We are welcoming to all people here on Popcorn and Root Beer, even the ones who don't like us. But as you guys can tell from the background, I even updated our logo so it's nice and classy looking. Awards show season is upon us. It's descending upon us like the locusts on Egypt. It's the Golden Globes time, which means there's plenty of feelings to be hurt, but there's plenty of money to win. That transition was amazing considering how bad I blundered the introduction, but I'm really proud of that. But before we get to that, we do have some breaking news in the Hollywood world that we probably should get to, considering this is an entertainment show that has to do with movies and TV, and some of the stuff that we are going to be talking about has to do with both in a significant way. I am going to throw a quick alert to anybody who may be watching this that some of the stuff we're going to get into is pretty dark, considering some of the people we will have to speak about. i.e. Harvey Weinstein. But before we get to why that fucker's in the news again, let's start with the news that the Netflix VP says that people want to watch movies at home. This is coming amidst their takeover of Warner Brother Pictures, and he says that people yearn to watch movies at home, much like the children yearn for the mines. How are we feeling about, number one, Netflix potentially acquiring Warner Brothers? It sounds like Paramount's trying to launch a hostile takeover. Do we have a dog in this fight? Are we kind of just hoping a third party comes in? And do you guys think people want to watch movies at home now?
So I don't like the Netflix buying Warner Brothers. I think it's like too much.
It's getting too monopolistic.
Yes, thank you. It's too monopolistic, and I do think that this is going to lead to one, a degrading quality of like already degrading quality in media, further degradation, and then also, yeah, I just like it's going to get a lot of shit canceled. Shit's going to get bad. Shit's going to get removed. I don't see it going well. As for watching movies at home, and like I think I'm in the minority here because I do enjoy that, and I rarely go to the theaters. I know you two are both big theater goers, but I also think that like I don't think it's either or. I think you can have a little bit of both.
It's
yeah,
not.
that's what I would say. Is it's like there's definitely certain movies that I want to see in theaters, like Wicked for Good. We loved it. Go watch that episode if you haven't for more context there. But like I'm 1,000 out of 1,000 times going to see something like that in theaters, whereas like, to be fair, 95% of the movies that come out, I say, I'll just wait till it's on streaming. Like, I want to still be able to go to the theater when it's the right movie for theaters. And I feel like the problem isn't that we don't want to go to the theaters as much as we don't get many movies that are worth going to the theaters for anymore.
Yeah.
It's tricky, and it's so weird to me that this guy is kind of spouting off at the mouth like this, and just like this is a situation where their PR people need to be like, hey, you need to shut the fuck up, because like you're making us look at like the villains that we are in this situation. Like people are gonna kind of push back against us. You came out and were like, oh, we don't, people don't want to go to the movie theater anymore. Like, yes, we do. And I think this is such a corporate consolidation and taking away of like a third space for people where it's not home or work, where they can go and enjoy themselves and just exist and live and have some fun. And like pricing is already doing that to people. It's already causing people not be able to go to the movies. But this idea that we want like a 1 week window to go see movies, you know what that's going to do to the prices? Because the studios aren't going to eat that. They're not going to eat the loss on that. They're going to make movies $40 to go to. And you can like get fucked if you think I'm going to spend $40 on a ticket to anything. Like that's insane. So I think this is just bad all around.
Yeah, that's just it. Like the theaters are important, and they just need to make them like a little cheaper, a little better. Like,
yeah, it needs to be
make that experience a little better. And
when everything is more expensive and you have more cost consciousness out of people that are out there, when they're looking at movie theater ticket pricing, and like luckily for me, I have one day of the week where I can go and it's discounted, but otherwise it's like $15. This is just me, by the way, not even counting that my wife and I are almost always going to the movies together. So it's $30 for us to get in the door. And then popcorn and root beer. We want popcorn. We want drinks. We both have a sweet tooth when it comes to being at the movie theater. Sure. So unless we're trying to sneak in candy, like you do the math on it, it's like $60 just to go to the movies anymore. Whereas like if we do it at home, sodas, they're pricier too, but like, I don't know, 2 cans of soda per person, a 50-cent bag of popcorn, and a family-sized bag of Sour Patch Kids cost me, I could do that 15 times for the same price that I could go to the movie for once.
Absolutely. And that's where I'm kind of seeing an issue. I did get the A-list through AMC. I found that to be worth it because I go to the movies more than twice a month.
Yep.
If you go twice a month, you make your money back and then some, and that's great. But like, this is just so stupid. And I'm so sick of like all these corporations kind of like gobbling it up, but it's kind of Warner Brothers' own fault that they're getting bought by putting themselves $40 billion in debt. Not sure who could fuck it up so bad that they wind up $40 billion, billion with a B, dollars in debt. Like that's a goofy number. But the way to combat this, right? And like people are like, what do we do? How does this help? Is you got to start supporting the smaller production companies, right? That's where you start supporting Neon, A24, and things like that, because that's essentially how the next big production companies come along. Blumhouse, Neon, A24. I know a lot of them make horror, but they're making horror because it's so cheap to make, right?
Yeah,
That's the cheapest genre to make.
It goes back to like the problem with going to the movie theater for horror in general. The cost of entry is so low comparatively. You're not doing these big, majestic, like you're not doing Star Wars. You're not doing Dune. You're not doing a Barbie or a Wicked where like so much goes into the visuals of it. Like hell, for a horror movie, you could just put a black, like a dark gray filter over everything, and it's going to scare half the people watching it.
Well, think back to classic horror, right? And when I say classic, like some people who watch this are probably going to be like, that's not classic. That's my child. 1970s Jaws comes out. 1974 Jaws comes out. The mechanical shark broke. And the answer to it, because horror is what it is, was, fuck it. We just won't show it until like the very end.
Yeah.
That was their remedy. Could you imagine if they were like, we can't get Tony Stark to look right. That's it. He's not in the movie until the end.
Yeah.
We'll just imply that he's there. Like,
it'll be a whole Iron Man movie.
It's genius.
Whole Iron Man movie. We don't see the suit till 30 seconds left in the movie. Thoughts? Anybody? Problems?
Right. Like the thing was
First guy
called
that says
Jaws.
something gets fired.
The thing was called Jaws, and all we saw was a bunch of like beachgoers get sucked under the water, and the world's worst mayor, like ignore the problem for 2 hours, and then the shark popped up and was great, and then blew up, and the movie was
the water
over.
turned red.
Like the movie was over, and they were like, "It's dead." For like 4 years, and then Jaws 2 happened, which is a whole nother conversation.
Questions. Some of these sequels, man.
But yeah,
So
we want to go to the movies. People want to go to the movies.
people want to go. To
We
the movies.
want the movies to be much like everything else in the world, cheaper. Much like we all wish Netflix was still like $7 a month. If I
And we
get
could
one
share
more
passwords.
fucking email or about from Netflix about my prices going up, I'm not going to cancel it because I'm committed.
that fuck ass email they sent to that's like, just so you know, your price isn't going up yet.
Yet.
I was like, what the fuck is that?
Can I opt out of the Warner Brothers shit to not make my price go up?
Yeah, it's
Like-
that's oh god, it's gonna own DC, and like I don't want to watch DC movies on Netflix. I don't want to watch it at home. You can't tell me anything hits as hard at home as it does in the theater. Even if it's a bad movie, I'd rather watch it in the theater if I can.
Only slight argument would be some comedies are funnier at home due to substance ingestion.
That's fair.
Sure. But I think you make a good case for like things like DC and even like Harry Potter with like the new series, which is just a whole thing. But like, yeah, that experience, some of those movies, some of those properties require that theater going experience.
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine watching like Prisoner of Azkaban on a fucking TV for the first time? It's just awful. But in probably even worse news, frankly, just from a person level, Judi Dench, weirdly, for some odd reason, came out today and spoke in support of both Kevin Spacey and Harvey Weinstein and said something along the lines of, and I'm paraphrasing here, I was never treated poorly by Weinstein, thankfully, but I feel like this is a forgiveness issue.
I'm just gonna give her the senile pass. She's 91.
Like,
really? Okay, but like still.
Yeah. But
You didn't have to say anything. That's just it.
Every now and then I'm reminded how important PR people are in the work that goes on behind the scenes, because I'm like, there really isn't a fucking thought in some of these people's skulls. Like there is nothing going on between the ears if it's not written down on paper. You know what I mean? We forget sometimes that these people, like some of these actors really are like, we love them because of what they say on screen, but that is all literally written out for them. They're like, these are the words you will say. And then they do these press interviews, and some of them were literally given like scripts to stick to, like, do not go beyond this. This gives, I'm so old that I fired my PR team because I know how to handle myself. And now she's just like, again, shooting off at the mouth and saying some real fucked up shit and saying this is a forgiveness issue because Harvey Weinstein is old and sickly. Harvey Weinstein should have been stoned in the public square.
Yeah.
Like,
and the way she says it too, like, I imagine he's done his time. I don't know. To me, it's personal forgiveness. Like, Cool, Judi Dench. You can forgive him all you want because he didn't treat you poorly. That doesn't change the fact that he was found guilty of these crimes in multiple states and has multiple different prison sentences to serve. He has not served anywhere near his time. In fact, he's got 39 years of prison time and he's not even in his 5th year yet.
It's
Like-
also just like such an out of touch. Like we just need to forgive, and
I'm so sick of the forgiving. And you know what? I know I can be a petty bitch like in my life, and I live on Team Petty. I love it.
Yeah.
Like, have you guys seen the TikTok that's been going viral of this woman posted a TikTok? Some guy commented a rude comment. This woman drove 3 hours out of her way to confront him about it, like, and filmed it,
Hell yeah.
which is just amazing. I'm like,
Hell yeah.
always Team Petty, always Team Petty. And I'm just like, you know what? And people are like, well, I know they did these bad things, but like, you need to find it in your heart to forgive, because how are you supposed to heal? How am I supposed to heal? How like,
I can heal on my goddamn own.
right?
Like,
They're like, well, they've served their punishment is not my fucking problem anymore. They can rot for
Yeah.
all I care. As a matter of fact, I do care. I hope they do rot. Like,
if they're unsafe to society, perhaps.
oh my god,
Like-
some of them are so annoying. Like, and it's just, again, you need PR people to be like diving onto the microphone, being like, no, like they're diving on a grenade in Captain America 1. Like, I mean, there is a lot that people need to do, and like get their heads out of their asses. And it's
And,
just
like-
rich old people. I've said this before, and we are a sports like primarily focused company. Once an athlete turns 40 years old, they should never see a microphone again. Like, no, they should never be allowed to give an interview again. And I feel that way about actors. Like, they can get a little bit longer in the tooth because they don't quite have the CTE issue going on. But I have yet to see a ex-NFL player get a podcast, turn 40, and not sound like a fucking moron. So, like, it's just, that needs to stop.
It is also like, she's been famous since I Googled it in like mid 50s, early 60s. She has had how much media training and PR people to tell her not to do that kind of shit.
And they
yet-
never listen. And yet, like, why did Dame Judi Dench feel the need to weigh in on this? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck
Also-
do you have to say about it?
It quite literally also calls out that she is retired. Why is she still in the spotlight? Period.
Who
Why are
asked
we
her this
interviewing her?
question?
The
Who
Radio
asked her about
Times.
this?
The Radio Times.
But why? Why is this?
Yeah,
their
was she like
topic?
doing an interview, or was it just like she was like, "Hello, radio, let me voice my opinion"? Like,
Yeah.
in a weird dementia moment? She's like, and by the way,
I think it is important for everyone to know. However,
Yeah. How do you feel about your retirement? She's like, it's fantastic. And by the way, I think Harvey Weinstein should be let out of prison, and all his people need to get over it. All his victims. Like, fuck off, Judi Dench. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm sick of people giving old people a pass too. Just because you're old doesn't mean you don't suck sometimes. So that's my
Preach.
rant on that. And that's the breaking news that we got for you here. But we're moving on, and now we're gonna make you some money. Now that we've kind of given you our like stance on the entertainment industry in general, it's time for the box office forecast. And we got some real good bets from the Golden Globes coming, and I got some thoughts on some snubs. I'll see you on the other side of the drop.
Blockbuster dreams we make, counting the cash, they'll rake. Popcorn and picture shows, will they break records? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows?
The Golden Globes are coming up, and it is time for us to make you some money. And I got some thoughts on it, as I always do, because they put a microphone in front of me, and this is what I do: is I give my unfiltered thoughts, and I hope that Jake and Trash agree with me when I give them. If they don't, well,
It
sometimes
makes for
I
good
just-
content if we don't.
It makes for good content, but I also look for other co-hosts every now and then. No, I don't. I love my co-hosts, and I'm just kidding to everybody out there. Let's talk about best drama. This, I think they got right. This, I think the odds makers got it right. And it seems like, if I check the show sheet, we are not in agreement.
no, but I might change that because I'll be honest, I hadn't seen the odds when I made my pick.
Oh, you just blindly made them?
I made this pick right after the nominations came out, before the
Oh,
odds
okay.
were updated. So I mean, I can be swayed. To be honest, I don't have a horse in this race.
Yeah,
But
and
Well,
I will say, like, Steve, the movie you and I picked, the odds were much better for it when we were still when we pulled these lines from BetUS originally, before the nominations were officially announced. The movie that we picked, now the favorite, was at plus money at the time.
I remember that, and I was like, "That's odd. That should be the
That's
favorite."
exactly
And
why I
now,
picked.
and now
It
it
was like an
absolutely is.
instant, and still at this line. I mean, it's still my pick,
So,
obviously, but
so here are the nominations, the official ones, right? So coming in as the favorite, it's Sinners at -130, followed by Hamnet at plus 175, Un Simple Accidente at plus 500, Sentimental at plus 1000, Frankenstein at plus 1400, and The Secret Agent at plus 1400. If you haven't heard of 3 out of the 6 of these movies, do not feel bad. Most of us haven't. Um,
true.
it's odd. It's such a award show thing to do, to pick like a bunch of movies that like people are like, what?
there's a lot of
But
foreign movies in there.
yeah, but Jake and I both went with Sinners. Trash, I doubt you saw Sinners because it was spooky.
Horror coded.
It was
Yeah.
horror coded. So I'm gonna say this about Sinners because I want to give it its credit, because to say it's just a horror movie would be a disservice. This was a period piece, drama, horror thing, like amalgamation that was really super poignant. Spoke to the Jim Crow era down in Louisiana or Mississippi. I forget.
Mississippi.
Mississippi, filmed in Louisiana, takes place in Mississippi. Michael B. Jordan plays 2 parts. Should absolutely be taking home awards for it. I don't think he's going to, because he's kind of getting snubbed here.
He should at least get Best Supporting Actor. He played his own brother.
He played his own brother and gave them both unique personalities and styles of speak that weren't like forced. It was very good. It was scary-ish, but I thought it was just such a beautifully shot movie that I have thought about kind of saying this should be Best Picture at the Oscars. So I was pretty confident going with this for Best Drama at the Golden Globes. Jake, were you kind of on the same thought process?
Yeah, pretty much. It's, I mean, especially when you look at what it's going up against, like, hands down, I shouldn't say hands down, my favorite non-musical movie of 2025, hands down. So for me, when you can pull off something in the way that they did, about the era that they did, leaning into that without leaning into it, again, you have to see this movie to truly understand what that means when I say that. But I mean, so much of this movie was so well done. The cast absolutely killed it. Like, it's truly one of those, like, you can't find a fault in it movies.
Yeah, and honestly, if Ryan Coogler doesn't get a Best Director nomination at like the Academy Awards or even at these Golden Globes, I don't know if he pulled one or not. I would honestly say that's a shocking upset. I feel like Best Director and Best Picture tend to go hand in hand a lot, at least in terms of nominations. This was a gorgeous shot movie. I actually said there may not have been a prettier movie I've ever seen on screen than Sinners. It was that gorgeous. I mean, it was just sprawling, beautiful landscape shots, followed by real personal, up close, like tender, haunting moments. It was so good. Trash, you were really like, before the odds came out, but you wrote Frankenstein, a Netflix movie, strangely enough. So Netflix grabs Frankenstein and nabs a nomination.
Mm-hmm. And it's Guillermo del Toro. I don't know why I had so much trouble saying his name. And I didn't see Sinners, to be honest. I didn't see Frankenstein either. I don't watch good movies. I don't have time. Anyway. But
Frankenstein was pretty mid.
It was pretty mid. I thought people liked it.
People liked it.
Yeah, I thought people liked it. So this was kind of like and I think you guys are right in that I think Sinners is the right choice. This is, again, I made this before the odds were in, and I was like, I'll just go a little different here. I think this is kind of like your long shot pick more so than, it's not the favorite for a reason. I think this is a long shot to sprinkle a small amount on. If you want to get a little weird, I do think it's like Sinners is the favorite for a reason. But I think people do like I know there were mixed reviews, but I think people do like it by and large, and people like Frankenstein by and large. They like Guillermo del Toro. God, his name is hard for
I
me.
do like Guillermo del Toro. I like Oscar
Yeah.
Isaac a lot, who
Yep.
plays Dr. Frankenstein. I thought Jacob Elordi did a good job disappearing
You
into
love
the
Jacob
role of.
Elordi.
I do like Jacob Elordi. I like to look at him. I didn't get to look at him all that much in this movie because it didn't look like him, which is tragic, but he did a very good job. I always like when people disappear into horror, and I like when horror gets recognized. So the fact that we got two essentially like horror movies nominated, I'll take as a win. I think
Yep.
that's big for the
Agreed.
genre. I do have to say that there are a few movies from this year, particularly 28 years later, that I thought got snubbed pretty hard in this category. And I'm annoyed by that, but I think they probably wanted to avoid going too horror heavy, especially where the substance did so well last
Right.
cycle.
Mm.
They don't want to like become like the horror movie award show. So I can see why that happened. But my gripe is not with best drama. My gripe is with best musical or comedy, because there's no musicals nominated for a Golden Globe in best musical or comedy. And that means Wicked for Good is not nominated for best musical or comedy this year.
Can I go on
How?
a little rant here?
Yeah, go
Please.
nuts.
I don't know if there is an award show that completely fucks up their nominations for an award with this name more than the Golden Globes. If you go through the history of some of the award nomination, like movies that have either won this award or been nominated for this award, it's like when we talk about The Bear getting nominated for comedy. Like, it's not a comedy. When you like The Martian won this award, it is neither a musical or a comedy. It is a It is a thriller horror movie. Like,
I would
if
have put it under drama.
yeah, there's it makes absolutely no sense.
But they cut a joke once in the middle of the movie. They made you chuckle once, and so
yeah, like literally, I just watched The Martian the other day. The funniest part of the whole movie is like 50 minutes in, where he goes, "This is officially the least disco song that she owns," and he plays the song, and it's a disco song. Like, there's 3 funny moments in what's otherwise a movie about a guy who's stuck on the planet Mars and is dying.
Yeah, like none of these movies are really that funny. Like Begonia, not funny. One Battle After Another, not funny. Like, and what's really annoying is that One Battle After Another is not even just a heavy favorite. It's like if it doesn't win, it's almost rigged. It's such a stupidly high favorite. Going off at minus 2,500. That means like it's goofy as anything. It's $25 to win $1, essentially, is what that means. And so that it's going up against Marty Supreme, which isn't even out yet, but okay, plus 700. Begonia plus 1,000. Blue Moon plus 2,800. No Other Choice plus 4,900. And Nouvelle Vague plus 4,900. If I butchered that, my bad. But like some of these movies, I am again. First off, Marty Supreme. I'm, you know what? I'm gonna get ahead of this because I'm kind of tired of it. I'm tired of the Chalamet Oscar chasing movies.
I'm actually looking forward to this movie. I like
why it's about ping pong.
I like the Safdie brothers.
I'm sick of them too. They're getting on my nerves too. Like, I'm sick of the Oscar chasing. I hate Oscar chasing movies. I really do. I'm like, put out a good movie, a movie that people are gonna like. It doesn't have to be Oscar bait to be a good movie. Because Sinners wasn't Oscar bait. It was a good movie that also could be made well enough to win an Oscar.
I'm just scrolling through the list of previous winners and nominations for this award, and I'm just getting myself more pissed off. Like last year, Challengers, not a comedy. Flat out, not a comedy. The Substance, quite literally a horror movie. This is just last year.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Well, and also like the fact that the biggest musical of the year is not nominated, and they nominated Marty Supreme, which hasn't come out yet and doesn't really seem like a comedy either.
It's not.
That's the thing, is
funny.
Like every comedy over the last 5 years there's no flat out comedies. They're all comedy dramas.
There should have been 2 favorites for this award. Honestly, if you stuck to the category, it was Wicked for Good and The Naked Gun. Those should have been the 2 nominees.
And I'll give them at least a little bit of leeway because it is nominated for Best Animated Film. But if we're talking super successful,
I was thinking Zootopia too as well, but I thought it would be an animated.
not even thinking that. K-pop Demon Hunters took
Oh,
over the
K-pop Demon
world.
Hunters. Yeah, musical
yeah,
and
that
comedy.
too.
Like, yeah, why isn't that? And it
There's
is
so many
nominated for
actual
best animated,
musicals.
but like, you've had best animated or an animated movie win this award before, so why
Yes.
not? Yeah.
Like literally Toy Story's on here as
Yeah.
something that has previously won this award. Toy Story 2 specifically. Like, it's not the first time we've seen
But
anything
Wicked
like
didn't
this.
even win this last year.
Yeah.
But they were nominated, weren't they?
Yes, they
believe
were
so.
they were at least nominated. Amelia
Yeah.
Perez took this home last year, which again,
Oh
at
my
least a
God.
musical. At
Yeah.
least
I
it's a
know.
musical.
That also pissed me off. You
But it
know what?
shouldn't
I
have
don't
won.
even. That shouldn't have won shit.
At
That
this
shouldn't have even
point,
been
just
made.
accept that you have to modernize the award nominations and do just a category for musicals. Do a category for comedy. Do a category
Yeah.
for drama.
Yeah, what's with
Call
this
it drama
mixing
thriller
thing?
and then horror. Like,
Big
why?
multiple categories, yeah.
Like, why is it musical or comedy? Those don't usually like even go together. Like, it's not like they're
No.
like, oh, they're kind of close, so we can. That's dumb. Anyway, leave your comments below about like how you feel about these categories, who you think should win, who you think shouldn't win, your picks. Play along with
Who do you
us. It's
think
always
was
fun.
snubbed?
Yeah, was Wicked snubbed? I think it was. I think
For
28
sure.
years later was also snubbed. I am, nothing if not opinionated on these matters. But I also apologize. You survived this long into the show without any sick beat drops, any sick like segment drops. But we're gonna fix that in the next 2 drops. But this next one might be the banger of all bangers. Let's get to it. Kalshi cuts.
Under the neon lights where the shadows dance, we ride the rhythm, take a chance. Blades of sound slicing through the night. Kalshi cuts, bringing fire to the fight. Kalshi cuts, sharp and clean, carving paths in a midnight dream. Feel the beat, let the echoes rise in the heart of the city.
I always feel like I should be like lassoing something.
I know. You know what? I'm always like, I don't even like country music. I don't know why I made that one.
Because it's a banger.
Because it's
Country
absolutely
music.
a banger.
All right, y'all ready to brag on ourselves for a little bit here? Because we got some
Hell
updated
yeah.
Kalshi standings, and they're looking pretty good. Trash, you're sitting at 11, 7, and 1. The queen in terms of winning percentage right now. Jake, 10, 7, and 2. Doing very well.
We take those.
I'm at 11, 8, and 2. How have I made an extra pick?
Trash and I have both missed an episode of Kalshi cuts. So
really?
Seth actually has a win and a loss on his record. So that is
the
where
boss is 1 and 1.
that is why you have made more picks. Is Trash and I are the only ones to have missed an episode.
Wait, but
am
why
an
does Seth
Iron
only
Man.
have the one win reflected on there? Why not his loss too? Come on.
I did not know when I made the graphic today that he had
Okay,
a
okay.
loss. I just figured he didn't have any more. But good to know that Seth has the worst winning percentage of all of us at 50%. That means
Which is
we are
still
batting
decent.
well above 500
Yeah.
as a unit.
Yeah, our worst. I did the math yesterday. I think our combined, like if you calculate it as like a win percentage, I think we are a hair under 60%.
Like, that's amazing. So when we say like, hey, you should probably listen to us, we're not full of shit, right? Like, that's pretty good.
You should
I'm pretty
probably
cool.
listen to us.
Yeah, you should probably listen to us. I feel like that's worth bragging about. So we got a few more, and we've actually made it harder for ourselves. So the fact that we're maintaining is kind of nice, because it used to be we each picked one that we were pretty confident in. Now we have to rapid fire these things, and we're going to get to them right now. So play along with us, guys. I know we're not live, but it's good to see how you do. We're going to start out, and they're all Golden Globes ones. Ariana Grande to win Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actress. This was a sweep.
Yep.
This was a sweep. We are all saying yes. We all kind of have Ariana popping off with this one.
And for me, it's not only that she absolutely killed it in the movie, right? Like, argument to be made that she was kind of the main character in a way for this second for Wicked for Good. But it's also, I just don't think the competition is great in this category.
Yeah,
you have Emily Blunt for The Smashing Machine, Elle Fanning for Sentimental Value. I'm going to butcher this one. Inga Ibsdottir Lilleus for sentimental value, Amy Madigan from Weapons and Tiana Taylor from One Battle After Another. I just don't think the competition is
Did
really.
Amy Madigan play Gladys? Is that who that is?
Let me confirm that for you.
If that's her, I think that's the strongest competition, personally.
I feel like people
Yes,
are talking about Tiana
definitely.
Taylor as well in that role, but I also don't think it's anything compared to Ariana.
That was Gladys, you said, Jake?
Yes.
Okay. She was fantastic. But Ariana should run away with this one. This should be a no-brainer. And frankly, I'm going to say it now because I don't think we're talking about it. I do think Cynthia Erivo should probably run away with the Best Actress Golden Globe as well as Oscar. It's time to complete that EGOT, people. And I'm done waiting.
Yep.
Trash,
Cynthia
do you have any
Erivo has
thoughts?
stiffer competition
She
in
does.
her category for sure, but still, like, it's again, when you can take a classic character, remake them in your own way, and arguably do it better, you deserve this award. Period.
I agree.
Who are the Best Actress competition? I still
so-
like.
Yes,
looking
you
it
have
up.
Rose Byrne, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, Kate Hudson in Song Sung Blue, Chase Infinity in One Battle After Another, Amanda Seyfried in The Testament of Anne Lee, and Emma Stone in Begonia.
Maybe Emma Stone and
Yeah,
Begonia.
that's where I was thinking too.
That would
But
be
I think
my
that's the
biggest
strongest competition. I still think it's Cynthia Erivo.
I think this is
Rose Byrne
Wicked's year
is
to
sneaky.
Rose Byrne could pull this off, and she could pull off the Oscar too, and knock Cynthia Erivo out of like the EGOT thing, and that would just be really annoying. I love Rose Byrne. It's just not her year. It's Cynthia's turn. Like it's time, and not because I'm like, oh, it should have been last year, and they owe her one. I'm like, no, that was an Oscar-worthy performance.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why they only award musicals that people like didn't like. Like I don't know why that seems to happen so much more. Like if people don't like the musical that much, and like I like West Side Story, don't get me wrong. I just think it's like way too loved, and I just am like kind of over it. I am happy Rachel Zegler pulled out a win though for it. So
I think there's some like weird critic psychology there where like people think that musicals are lowbrow, but then they only want to like certain lowbrows or certain musicals. And then like there's something there that I feel like
it's like the joyous
people
musicals
only like
almost
the
get
bad.
penalized.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
you can't really have like a bright, shiny musical. Like West Side Story took place like entirely at night. It was like dark the entire time.
Yeah.
And Rachel Zegler, again,
Which isn't the
amazing.
case with
So
the
I don't want to
original.
like knock her. Also, do you know that's our only Kalshi sweep? That's the only one we all agree on. The only one we're all unanimous on
Okay.
is this one. So from here on out, there will be dissent amongst the three of us. So I hope you enjoyed getting along.
I didn't. I'm ready to fight.
Yeah, no, it's not that fun when we all get along. Avatar, Fire and Ash, Rotten Tomato score over under 70%. Let's get into this because I believe I am the Lone Ranger in the under category. So I will start out saying I believe this is going to be under 70%. Way of Water eked this out at a 76, I believe. Avatar 1 was in the 80s. Avatar 2 dropped into the mid 70s. I'm expecting Avatar 3 to fall into the high 60s, mid 60s, potentially. I've seen the trailer for it, and I think while the visuals will be outstanding again, I do think these movies tend to be a bit busy. And I think that's the issue with them is they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and the story's getting sloppier and sloppier and sloppier because they're trying to build this world that I don't think people really are all that invested in. They will go see it because at this point, seeing a James Cameron movie is almost like entry into the I Enjoy Movie Club, which I think is like almost like this weird societal pressure. And it will make money. I think it will be a mid 60s, high 60s, flirt with 70. I think I might survive this one by a point or two. Trash, you have it as over.
I do think you're right in that it's going to be very close to the line of 70.
Yep.
I think it's going to clear it not by a ton, but I think it still has a little bit of that critics. Like, I do think they're going to penalize it on the story, but I think the visuals, and especially knowing that the visuals they say are going to be better than the last one, then I think it can make up for any lost points on the story in the visuals and in that production.
I think though, Jake, correct me if you or chime in or trash chime in if you think I'm wrong with this. I think critics tend to get a little harsher as you go deeper into series, right? They tend to be a little
They
more
do,
like,
for sure.
we've seen
Yeah.
this, we've seen this, we've seen this. You wowed us and you won us over, and you may have won a few of us over with Way of Water because it was so pretty. But if this movie doesn't have the story, we're not going to give you the pass anymore.
And so that's where I do think Avatar Fire and Ash has an advantage over Way of the Water, because I mean, it hasn't been explicitly said, but it's been heavily implied by a lot of people that are involved in the making of that film, that film was made to set up this film. So in a lot of ways, I think this is going to expand on the story elements that I think a lot of people found lacking in Way of the Water.
Mhm.
I think people are looking forward to Fire and Ash way more than they were ever looking forward to The Way of the Water. I feel like that one very much was like and we'll get the sequel eventually. And then it showed up and they were like, okay, now what? Like, whereas I think there's actually some hype built around this one. Funny enough, the popcorn meter for Way of the Water outperformed the first Avatar somehow. But this is obviously going off of tomato meter. I think that the cast is strong enough. The visuals are going to be strong enough. I think 70 is a great line. I just don't see it going under. I feel like this big of a production, it has to be really, really bad for movies like this to fall under that benchmark.
And yet you saw Wicked for Good do it.
Yeah, but that's just
Still
Which
bullshit.
has me worried. Has me worried. Jake, I'm going to keep it with you because we're going to talk a movie I am actually much more excited about than I am for Avatar. I am a self-proclaimed not hater of Avatar, but I did not enjoy Avatar, the movies so far. I think the stories are super bland and way too grandiose. I love the visuals, though. Love the visuals. But Anaconda, a remake of the 1990s classic starring Ice Cube and Jennifer Lopez. They are remaking it, but let me set this up real quick. Let me set the stage for this. They are remaking this in a way that I think remakes need to do in the future, where they're saying in the movie, we are going to remake the movie Anaconda. And this is a remake movie about people remaking the movie Anaconda, but it's a comedy starring Paul Rudd and Jack Black, along with another cast of characters. Essentially, what happens is they go to the Amazon, they hire a snake trainer who brings an anaconda with them. They accidentally kill the anaconda in their boat propeller. They're like, well, and the guy's like, I've heard of a Titania boa out in the depths of the rainforest. If you want your movie, that's where you'll find it. Very Tropic Thunder feeling, I guess, is what I would say about this movie. Jake, you went under. Have I swayed you?
No, you haven't. This movie's gonna suck. It's gonna be so bad. Like, don't get me wrong. I love Paul Rudd. Jack Black's fun. Steve Zahn is fun. Who's asking for a 9th installment in the Anaconda series? We've seen them try to go like, at least they're going like full meta comedy route with it, as opposed to like Lake Placid versus Anaconda, which was like, you know, it's a sci-fi movie. It's in your Sharknado tier of films. So at least they're trying something different. I like, the problem with comedies when it comes to the critics is like, they don't like dumb comedy. You have to be witty to win the critics over. And I just don't imagine this movie being witty enough to like truly win over the critics, which is what is needed for a tomato meter win.
I think it set the bar low on itself on purpose, so it's going to overperform, and I think it's going to win with critics. Trash, do you agree with me?
I do. I think this is one of those movies that it's going to be so stupid that it works. It like just works. And I think it is going to fully cross that level. Like, this is probably my most anticipated. No, this is for sure my most anticipated of this list, but like just in general, most anticipated movie in a while. I will be sat for this.
I feel like it'll perform well on the popcorn meter. I have my doubts about the tomato meter.
I got it as an over right now, and I actually I laid the money down on it. I am excited for this movie. I think it's going to do well. One that
more power to you.
I think let me see. Are Trash and I in agreement again on this one? We are. But Jake, you are gonna. you're gonna take the over on a really aggressive line here. Marty Supreme, 95% Rotten Tomato score. This is a movie about a ping pong player.
You're giving into the Oscar bait.
Maybe. It's an A24 film. First off.
Okay.
I already know I'm gonna like it. Second off, this has already like made its rounds on the festival circuit and has performed really, really well. It's already sitting at a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you
How
get
many reviews?
87.
Wow.
So it's already got like it's already a heavily reviewed, heavily praised film in a lot of ways. The National Board of Review and the American Film Institute both have already named it a top 10 film of 2025. It's got 3 nominations already in the awards circuit for the Golden Globes. Like all signs are kind of pointing up for this movie. And I get that the line's really high. My first instinct on this was instinctively to go under. And then as I looked into it more, like I'm fine being wrong on this one just because the profitability of the over is the potential to be profitable here is so high.
I think you're going to be wrong, but Trash, you also think he's going to be wrong, but has he swayed you to the other side, to the dark side?
No, this line is too steep. I get it. And I think that, 97% right now is very good. That's so precarious. That's not a 99.
Yeah, right? Like we know that more reviews will come in and it just takes 1 out of 10. And all of a sudden this thing falls to a 94.
Oh, for sure. And
like,
I'm admitting like there's already some like Metacritic has it at an 89 currently, albeit smaller number of reviews. But it's on a lot of like it's getting a lot of acclaim. It's in so many film critics top 10s already. It's already nominated for just an insane amount of awards, past the Golden Globes, and it's already won awards. Won Best Screenplay in the New York Film Critics Circle, won Best Editing, Los Angeles Film Critics Association.
Best editing is a crazy one. That's just a crazy, like, you don't really think about editing when you think of anything. Like,
yeah, but I mean, I don't know, man.
Can we talk about an award category I wish we had? Because now that it's on my mind, when it comes to editing, especially best trailer should be an Academy Award.
Oh, 100%.
There's a lot of bad trailers out there. A lot of these movies, I was like,
yeah, I'm sick of bad trailers.
I don't know what's happening in this movie. This was actually one of them. I watched that trailer and I was like, this does not make me feel like I want to watch this movie in any way, shape, or form. I was like, what is he's just playing ping pong and trying to like make it out of the hard knock streets, I guess.
By playing ping pong, I mean, isn't that the plot line of Balls of Fury? I mean, like, isn't that the same
yes,
idea?
It very much gave me that kind of vibe.
Like, why isn't that nominated for an Academy Award? If we're going for it, let's go. If you want to get nuts, let's get nuts. You know what I mean? Best trailer should definitely be a thing. And when did we all decide as a as a society to get rid of the in the world where
in a world?
You know what I mean? Like, where's the guy who's like Owen Wilson, Vince Vaughn, Wedding Crashers coming this Christmas? Like, where's that? Where did it go? Like, what year did they just decide, like, no more? We're not doing that anymore. How is my guy? Do you think I should do it? Should I look into being the voiceover guy?
I'll do it. My voice I can already mimic the voice pretty accurately.
All right.
Doing it pretty well, and I'm sick right now. In a world where danger comes to the tables.
Do you know Ryan Reynolds did that for, like, years? Like, he was the In a World guy. Like, that's crazy. All right. Last line here before we move on to Mount Rushmore. Which didn't make the little lineup thing over on the side there. Sorry. The Housemaid, Rotten Tomato score, over under 60. Jake, you're on an island again. But Trash and I we're gonna start it out. Trash and I will start out because we're gonna try to pull you to our side. Trash, why do you think this is going under 60%? And I think it's the same reason I do.
Because it doesn't look good.
Yeah, okay. That's part of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's very like it's giving like A Simple Favor and just all of those kinds of movies where you're like, oh, what's happening? But it's same director. Okay, that makes sense.
And actually, based like author. I believe this is a what's her face? That Colleen Hoover.
I believe so. Is it another fucking Colleen Hoover? That's why it's bad. That's why it's bad. Okay.
Hold on. Let's get some. let's not slander my queen right now.
Colleen
like-
Hoover.
Colleen
Big
Hoover's.
fan.
You
I
can't
don't-
be a fan of Colleen
no.
Hoover.
This
Jake.
is a Frida McFadden book. Also another
Okay.
one of my wife's favorite authors.
Okay.
Okay. Regardless,
Hold
I
on.
think it just like has that feel to it where you're like, it's trying to build that suspense of ooh, what's going on, and build that drama in a way where I'm like, I just don't really care.
I 100% agree. It also has Rotten Tomatoes and box office poison Sydney Sweeney as the
fair.
star of the movie, who she has not delivered a good thing since Immaculate. So she
On a
has been
downside for sure.
she's been on a downslide, and then she went and again, PR people getting a little shout out, a little love from the Popcorn Root Beer crew here, because she went and did that awful interview after the American Eagle ad where she just looked at the camera and said nothing and had dead eyes the entire time. It was one of the more unsettling things I've ever watched in my life. I couldn't get enough of it. It was amazing.
Kind
They-
of turning very dead eyes now.
She is. And she they gave her the biggest softball in the world of being like, denounce white supremacy. And she was like, no. It was so stupid. And so she had, and then she fought because she had fought, that was following up the 5th worst box office opening of all time for a wide release. The movie made under $1 million on a a nationwide release. She's getting killed by critics left and right. People don't like her movies. I'm so sad that Amanda Seyfried seems to be being sucked down the Sydney Sweeney failure train here. I'm worried about this one. I got this one. I would say the line would be much more appealing at 45.
Yes, 45 I'd taken over.
As somebody taking the over, I would love if the line was 45.
Yeah. Why are you taking the over?
I think it actually is an intriguing storyline. The book performed very well. Look past Sydney Sweeney. It's a very strong cast of people who are very popular right now. Amanda Seyfried, Brandon Skelenar. There's some very popular names in here. Paul Feig has his ups. He has his downs. But when he hits, he absolutely hits. Another metagaming part of it, he typically goes good Rotten Tomatoes movie, 2 bad ones, good one.
You're riding the trend.
If you follow that trend, it's good for his last 9 movies. So the math says this should be the good one. But I mean, I know people who aren't
he looks like the Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny meme where he's like with his wife, he's like, look at the pattern. It's there.
the pattern. But I mean, where I think you have some benefit here is this is the type of quote unquote horror-esque film, more psychological thriller than anything. But I know people who don't like that type of movie who are excited to see this movie. And I get it's the critics that, again, we have to play to the critics when we're betting on these scores here. I think there's a lot of things that line up to this outperforming expectations.
I think Sydney Sweeney will drag this thing down to a 50 just by herself.
It's certainly possible, but as playing a character of a young housemaid in this scenario, it's a lot like her role in Euphoria early on, where I think the ditziness of her as a person kind of plays into the role really well.
Because she's not acting.
Kind of.
She's just in there I don't know what's happening. So let me say this. Me and my buddy, we saw the trailer for this in theaters, and we both looked at each other, and I said, what the fuck is that about? And he was like, I have no idea. That looked like it was a mess. And I'm like, that's what I'm getting from it. It's a mess. And it's going to be I think it's a psychological thriller. And I think the premise itself is solid, except for the fact that I think it's one of those psychological thrillers that tries one or two too many twists where you're like, I don't know what's happening anymore. And I don't like it.
That's fair. But do the critics care? Is what this ultimately boils down
I think the critics do care about that kind of thing.
They do, for sure.
I think
this is of the picks where I'm against you guys, this is the one I am least confident in by far.
Yeah, because I feel like if you win, this is going to be a 61 and you're going to be nailed by it the entire time. It's going to be rough.
I quite literally was about to say, I'm hoping for this to come in at 63. If this line was 65, I would have taken the under.
I also want to, I know I shouldn't.
Which is a nice thing about Kalshi. You can alt the line if you want.
You can. I want to do this as well because I just need to give myself a little bit of love because the last time we did bets, we bet on Running Man as one of the Kalshi cuts. And I said on the show, on air, live, I said, this is probably like, I'm thinking like a 60, like a 65 or like a 62, 63. That movie came in dead on
Yeah,
63. Like,
you hit that number on the dot.
Nice.
and I've never felt a high like it since.
Me
So
with Now You See Me, Now You Don't being the only person on the over for that one. And it
You were the only person
substantially
on the
was
over.
over.
Yeah, right. That was crazy.
Very
And
good film, by
I
the
thought
way.
it was,
You should see
I
it.
thought it was good. I thought it was good. I thought it was fine.
I still haven't seen it. I forgot that came
Really
out,
good.
honestly.
It was okay. It was good.
It's better than the second one by far.
The second one wasn't very good, so it's good.
I'll tell you what, I was pleased, and the thing that I was most mad about, I didn't have to be mad about. I will say that, and I will say nothing more.
I know what you're referring to, I believe.
Yes, thank you, Jake.
Is it Isla Fisher, Lizzie Kaplan?
That's what I
Isla
was mad
Fisher's
about.
in it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was mad about that.
Isla Fisher is
So-
back. No more Lizzie Kaplan, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate because
I like Isla
like-
Fisher.
I like both
I
of
like
them.
Isla Fisher.
I like
too.
Lizzie Kaplan too, but I like Isla Fisher.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna move on to Mount Rushmore, and we're gonna talk our favorite. Speaking of Golden Globes, our favorite winners from the Golden Globes, and we got a new drop. So comment below what you think of it because it's coming now.
Yeah, we're counting down, counting down, counting down now. Who owns the moment? Who owns the time? Yeah, we're counting down now. Who owns the moment? Who will win this time?
It is our Mount Rushmore segment. What do you guys think? New drop,
I
a
like
little
it.
bit different.
It's good.
Yeah,
It's good.
right?
What
It's very
Seth when Seth brought up what he thought was unsettling about that, he was wrong. It's
I think
awesome.
it was wrong. I think it was sick. Like
it
it was
was.
It's a creepy kind of song. I thought it needed some creepy like little
it
children
fits
in
the
it.
vibe.
Yeah,
Also,
I thought so too.
Weapons was a phenomenal movie. I just have to
loved
say.
Weapons. I saw it twice in theaters. I loved it. I was a big fan. Trash, not so much.
Not my
Trash,
vibe.
I don't think I like your attitude right now.
It's just not my genre.
So we're talking about the best Golden Globe Best Picture winners. Each of us picked 4. We had decades and decades and decades worth of data. I was torn between like 6 or 7.
Yeah, the fourth film on my Mount Rushmore was like I literally had to write them down and like mentally do a pros cons list of each of the movies and like whittle it down.
Yeah, it's. I share one with you. I share one with Trash. So we're gonna start with the ones that some of us share. So Jake, you and I share The Exorcist
Correct.
as one of our favorites.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the horror movie that got me into horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
So this was like inevitably going to be on my list. And again, horror movies don't win now. So a horror movie winning Golden Globes Best Picture in 1973, like that should say something about that movie.
Back then when people had like the biggest stick up their ass about everything. Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah. And especially when you consider like the Exorcist storyline admittedly has been beat to death by shit movies over and over and over again since trying to recreate the success of the first one. And almost everybody will unanimously agree that like this movie stands up in a lot of ways today.
Absolutely does. I watched it pretty recently and I was like, Jesus, this movie is amazing.
It still gets me. Like it's
the
still
fact
scary.
that this thing was able to be made just a fuck ton of money at the box office as well, at a time where frankly religion was a lot more popular in this country than it is today, where people were like, this is the most unholy movie ever made based on the most unholy book ever written. And that thing took home the Golden Globe for one of the best pictures, right?
Yeah. Its
Like,
original theatrical run. So in the 70s, its original theatrical run brought home $193 million. Until it came out in 2017, it was the single highest grossing R-rated horror movie of all time.
like
That it held that
a
record
long
for
time.
quick math there. What's that? 44 years?
Yeah, that's insane. That's insane.
Now I'm gonna look up an inflation calculator and see how much that would be equivalent to today.
You do that while I talk a little bit about The Exorcist. Actually, you know what? I've talked enough about The Exorcist. Trash, you and I also share a movie. And after this, we're each going to read the next 3 on each of our lists. But you and I both went with Beauty and the Beast. Classic Disney movie. And there were a few Disney movies to choose from on this list, but you and I went with Beauty and the Beast. Why'd you go with that one over? Well, Jake has one on his list that is not Beauty and the Beast, but why'd you go with this one over some of the others?
Yeah, I kind of I waffled on this one. It was funny, like we put this category in, all three of us started typing our first 3 picks out, and then we all paused on the 4th one for a really long time, and I was waffling. I waffled hard. I thought about it. Beauty and the Beast. So yes, there's some weird Stockholm syndrome storylines there that let's just,
She doesn't change. The Beast changes.
yeah.
Yes.
That's fair. That's fair. The Beast changes. She's still held prisoner. It's a little sus at times. Anyway.
Haven't we all been, though?
Yeah, exactly. And that's just it. All of these Disney movies, all movies are going to have a little problematic element.
Also, not for nothing. If I was held captive and that came out and looked at me, I'd be like, oh.
Oh, the Beast is way sexier than Adam. Also, if
she was so disappointed too. Her face is like,
every single woman knows. Every woman, every girl. You all had that feeling.
And why didn't he have a beard?
No, it's such a good question. He should have had a beard. On, and it would have made all the difference.
Yeah.
But Beauty and the Beast, it's charming, it's cute. It is top to bottom bangers on a story on the soundtrack, and I truly do mean that. Even the small songs are just truly bangers. We did it I did tech theater in high school. So we did that my senior year, which is always fun. So I have a little personal bench towards it. But I will say doing tech theater did make me hate some other shows for life. So the fact that I had the opposite reaction, I think says something.
My greatest regret is that I got cast as the Beast in a community theater production. It was a high production too. And I couldn't do it because I had a wedding on one of the show days. Yeah, it was awful.
You would have been a good Beast though.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I would agree.
I don't know how to feel about that, but I appreciate it.
You would have been a great lead is what I'm saying. Beast is a powerful lead. One of my best friends of all time did the Beast and he's fantastic.
Yeah, it was such a fun role too. I'm so sad I couldn't do it.
I know.
What a tragedy. Tragedy in my life. That and the Amazon series I didn't get to act in because of COVID. My acting career had so many what ifs and now it'll never happen.
Never say never.
Never say never. Justin Bieber.
By the way, the $193 million that The Exorcist made in 1973 is the equivalent of $1.4 billion today.
Cleaning up. That's crazy. That's crazy. That had everyone out.
Everyone it would be quite literally movie. Adjusted for inflation, arguably the highest grossing film of all time.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Because in today's viral day and age, once that movie started getting $1 billion, everyone's like, well, I have to go see it now. Anyone who hadn't seen it would have gone. Yeah. It would have been a $2 billion movie.
Yeah. That's it's once insane. That B shows up in the box office number there, you're like, all right, I got to see what I'm missing.
Yeah. All right. So since my list is half over, I will round out my next 4 picks. So I did have Beauty and the Beast. I did have The Exorcist. I also went with The Hangover in 2009. And I went with Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street in 2007. Call me crazy if you want, but I love Sweeney Todd. Love Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, you're crazy, but I respect it.
I think it speaks.
Not for that.
I think some, you know what though? It's kind of funny, right? Because some of the musicals that people love kind of say a lot about them, right? I will admit that my Spotify Wrapped, my top genre of the year was emo. So not shocking that I went with Sweeney Todd. Sure. The OG emo man. That's just what he is. And I loved Johnny Depp at the time. And I love, Jamie Campbell Bowers, or Jamie Bowers Campbell, I guess I should say. Oh my goodness. That man has had my heart for the better part of 2 decades. So it's been a long, long love affair of him since the Mortal Instruments City of Bones. May I offer anyone that as well?
Wait, who was he in that?
The main character, the blonde dude.
Is he Jace? Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah, wait, somewhere behind me, right there. You can't see it, but on that lampshade is a little pin of Jace.
Yeah, it was. That's the guy who plays Vecna.
I was about to say, more importantly, Vecna.
He is Vecna.
I'm counting down the days until part 2. drops
It
of
was
Stranger
good.
Things.
So I went with The Hangover and Sweeney Todd, and that rounded out my list. I think The Hangover is also one of the greatest comedies
Agreed. It
of the
almost made my
2000s,
list.
maybe of all
Yeah.
time.
Almost
In
made mine.
terms of it changed the comedy game, and anytime you can really change the game, you have to be recognized for that.
Yeah.
Jake, you got 3 that aren't The Exorcist.
That's correct. I went with what I will still die on the hill of being the greatest movie ever made in Saving Private Ryan. It's a legendary movie. Even people who don't like war movies like it.
I
It's
don't.
well, you're wrong.
I haven't seen
That's
it,
fine.
but-
We all make mistakes.
You're not missing out.
But I mean, it's just a phenomenal movie. The storyline behind it, semi based on a true story in a lot of ways, and the way that they tell the story and the character progression, the filmography for being a movie from 1998. If you showed it to somebody today, they would have been like, "When they make that 2022?" Like, there's a lot of really great parts of
that
that
I will
movie.
say. That I will
Cast-
say. Spielberg amazing. Like
He-
A1 out of Spielberg.
Also, like as you watch the movie, you're like, "Oh wait, I know that guy. Oh wait, I know that guy." Like so
Young
many
Vin
no-name
Diesel?
actors. Young Vin Diesel.
Mm.
I'm not gonna go on the tirade. Like the guy who plays the main cop, John Nolan in The Rookie is in there. Like there's
Yep.
so many people who 27 years ago now, nobody knew who these people are, and they're like
Mhm.
superstars today. Just a great film all around. I know I shit on its nomination in its category earlier today, but The Martian actually does make my list for my favorite. I think it should have won for drama. Different story, another day. I love that movie. Again,
Mhm.
it's a sad movie in a lot of ways, but
Yeah.
I felt like it had to be on here. And then my final pick, I'm not a Disney adult, but I kind of am, and The Lion King is a big part of why I kind of am. It to this day is the only Disney movie that can beat out Frozen for me.
Really?
It's the only one.
How interesting. What a strange list you have. I think we should do. You remember when we did the Sexiest Man Alive list and we all voted on stuff and like I compiled that all? Like, you
Mhm.
should go watch that. Trash, can you link that one? Just because, like,
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
We did that and it was fun. Like, I think we
Di-
need to do more of those because I
Yeah.
just am fascinated to see how like you
We did this-
guys all rank things.
Disney one at one point. I don't think we ever published it, did we? Maybe.
You know what? I think I might have a sheet of that.
I was
so
gonna
maybe
say
do.
Disney Pixar.
I know we ranked them and it was
I
fun.
think we did soundtracks. I think we have the
Yes.
soundtracks.
If we,
So-
but let's just
Okay,
do
okay,
actual
still.
Disney Pixar movies
Disney
as well.
Pixar
Okay.
movies. Okay.
We'll see
All
what we
right.
can do.
All right. I like your
Yeah,
list, Jake.
that had to
Trash,
be
you
there.
got you you went musical
You have a
heavy,
trend.
and I love it. You have a
Yeah,
trend.
I am
There's
who
also
I
another
am.
trend you have to get into. So it's crazy.
I am who I am. It's fine. Yeah, Beauty and the Beast, obviously for that. And then otherwise I did go with 3 musicals. And you said like your genre was emo. And I have Pandora, so it's whatever Pandora calls it. It's slightly different. My top station of the year was soundtracks, and it's so many musicals. And in here I have chosen a specific era. It's a golden run. And it was just coincidence that they happened to be that way.
Trash
I will
is in
say
there.
it's a great
Just-
run.
It's
it
a
was
great run.
but Trash is like generational.
I love all of these movies though. So I will defend them. But we had starting in 2001 Almost Famous. Next year we had Moulin Rouge, followed it up by Chicago. I know I've talked about Chicago on the show before. Like I
Yeah.
love Chicago. Chicago is chef's kiss. And like it's a phenomenal movie. It's the storyline is creative. I love when they like intersperse between the reality and the fantastical world. And like it's that element of a musical that I always love. And that's partially why Moulin Rouge is here too. Like I think Moulin Rouge does a similar job of that like escapism musical. And like it's big, it's flashy, it's fun. I don't normally love a jukebox musical, and this is one of my exceptions, I will say. But I love Moulin Rouge. Almost Famous, not really a musical, but you know, music heavy movie.
Mhm.
This is one of those movies that I just think is like, and maybe I'm like, because I have bad opinions, I have trash opinions. I think this is genuinely like one of those kind of goat movies. I think it like there's something about that story that I feel like is kind of relatable, of like finding yourself, not relatable in that like I'm not fucking off on a tour van to write about, you know, one of the greatest bands, whatever. But I think it has, I don't know, kind of that coming of age story. Like I like a good coming of age story. It's it really immerses you into the world, and I think it like kind of has a little bit of that drama, a little bit of that heart and the humor, and like I just think it is a very good movie.
I agree.
I
I have no
respect it
qualms.
for
I
being proof that you don't have to be a box office success to win awards. Because this movie lost money.
Yeah.
I have to give credit that I don't have really qualms with any of our picks. I can get why Jake picked Saving Private Ryan. While I'm not a war movie fan, I get why people love that movie. It is very well made as far as a movie goes. I do think that if you had to pick one, let's say we had to narrow it down, you had to give the Golden Globe, the goldenest globe, the most golden.
Yeah, you know my answer.
Yeah, I think you and I are in lockstep with that. I'm going with The Exorcist.
No, I'm going with Saving Private Ryan. It's the best movie ever made.
Oh, wow. All right. Well,
I said
I'm
that
going with
when
The
I was
Exorcist.
talking about it. It's the best movie ever made.
Oh, all right. Then I'm going to The Exorcist.
I
would
am
say it's
obviously going Chicago.
I'm going The Exorcist. It changed horror forever. And I think that's where I would say mine leans. Jake, you went with Saving Private Ryan, which you say is the best movie ever made, and you're going with Chicago, the movie that really gave us probably the best Catherine Zeta-Jones of all time.
Hmm. I think the best Renee Zellweger too.
Yeah, probably
Hotter
both
take,
of them,
but
right?
valid.
Yeah. Also like John C. Reilly, Richard Gere. Name better performances for.
I
Queen
forgot
Latifah.
John C.
I'm
Reilly was
sorry.
in that.
We talked about
yeah.
it a couple
Oh, yeah.
episodes ago, I think.
Yeah, we did.
It got brought up, but yeah.
Yep.
That's a
'Cause he
great
could
choice.
have been a wizard. A good choice.
Yeah.
He would have been a great
I
wizard.
should have just said a wizard, like people know. You guys know what I'm talking about, but
Yeah. It would have been great as the Wizard of Oz, is what she's
yes.
saying.
Yes.
But what's next for us here at Popcorn and Rebuild? Well, what's next for you listening to us, watching this, or listening on whatever you're doing? If you're driving and watching us, don't stop, but like don't watch. You know what I mean? Like play us through your Bluetooth and you can just listen to our sultry voices, like calming you. Don't fall asleep. Wake up. But like, subscribe, and share. That should be the next thing you guys do. And then what's next for us here at Popcorn and Root Beer? And here for you guys, what are we entertaining you with? Well, next week, we're doing our first of hopefully many guest rewatch episodes. We are going to be doing a full reaction to the classic sci-fi world-changing hit Star Wars: A New Hope with Mr. Alfredo Brown, who also has his own movie and TV podcast called oh my god, Unbinged. It's fantastic. I have subscribed. I watch a lot of their episodes. I don't know why I blanked so much on that. I wanted to say the rewatchables is why, and that's a totally different one that I also watch. But we're gonna have Alfredo on. We're gonna watch Star Wars: A New Hope, which I am actually kind of excited about, to do a movie breakdown of a movie that I really haven't watched that closely before. I've watched it, but I haven't like sat there and been like, let's deep dive Star Wars.
Yep.
So we have a lot of awards to give out next week.
I'm
I've
excited to
never seen
rewatch it because it is by far
You've
my
never seen it,
least.
so it's gonna be exciting.
It's my
never
least
seen a
favorite
Star
of the
Wars.
Star Wars movies. It's been a while since I've watched it, so I'm excited to give it another try.
It's the one that started it all, and I think there's something to be said for that. That being said, we reached the sad part of our show, where it's time for us to say goodbye to all of you wonderful people. Now, we're not saying it live, as I've said, this is recorded, but next week we will be live, which means the comments should be flowing. Feel free to come in, hang out, talk to us. Tell us what you think of Star Wars: A New Hope. But on this video, tell us your Golden Globes picks. Tell us how you feel about the breaking news that hit Hollywood this week and rocked it pretty hard. How about some Kalshi bets with us? Are you riding with us? We are riding over 50%, almost 60%. We're making you money here at Popcorn and Root Beer. We hope we're entertaining you. But that is a wrap for us here. For myself, for Trash Sandwiches, for Jake Parry. We will see you next time. Take care.